Here are the variables. So what are the variables? Variables that vary in the value, like x, y, z's are the variables. These are called the variables. What are the constant? The constant are the numbers like 1, 2, 3 and so on. So these are constants and these are the variables. It's pretty much the same thing in the programming itself. Let me change the color so that we can enjoy the different colors. So what the variable is actually used for? The variable is used to store the values. That is the most important thing. Even when you are writing something on your notebook, like let's say this is my notebook and I'm going to solve something for x, like let's say x minus 1 is equals to 0. So I'm going to solve it, x is equals to 0 plus 1 and my answer is x is equals to 1. Well, x is equals to 1, I'm writing it here. So what I actually used here, I used the space of the notebook. So in the very same way, we need to store the value in the hardware to use that variable. So that is one of the most important thing. And sometimes, just sometimes, which become very often time, trust me, we can use it for the complex data types. We can use the complex data types and functions for the variable. Yes, it can be used, right? It seems mathematical, I know, but it can be used. And it is used to store, as we have already seen, and to manipulate the data types. We can manipulate the data types. We can add, subtract whatever the files we are making. You can edit those files. You can try to develop your own concepts over that and can use the data types. There are so many data types. We are going to discuss that in just a moment, but I hope you have understood what the variables actually mean. Variable can have the values and it needed to be stored. This is called the variable in our case, in the Python case. Okay, and actually it's in all the programming languages. So let me tell you one more thing here. You can use the variable as a name. With that I meant is you can use like I write abac. Well, I wanted to write abacus, but I am not going to write that. I wrote the abac, or just any name, any beautiful name. Let's say earth. So the earth, the word earth itself is variable that we can use as the variable. So you can use the names as the variable. You can use just these x, y, z's as the variable, whichever is easy. Well, as a math person, you can use x, y, z and all that kind of things. But for the ease of the situation, using the names are better. If you're talking about the earth, if you're talking about the gravity, I should write the gravity and not just x and y. Well, we as math students and all that kind of thing, we love x, y, z forms, but actually let's get complex when we are adding hundreds and thousands and millions of the lines in codes. So the names are good to understand the situation well. So here are some reserved keywords that we cannot use as the variable. Well, can you imagine that why it's impossible or it should not be allowed to use these words?